Welcome, everybody. Welcome to Simulation Talk 351. Kind of surprise and also very late, but sometimes that's what we do. At least we're doing one today, which is good. Welcome. Today is definitely going to be a relatively short one. I just wanted to pop in here, maybe answer a couple of questions, go over a couple of things. Let's start core. There we go. Channel is open. Let's see what we have here by Sean. Whoop. What? I'm very confused. When I'm opening the channel, the general chat just kind of disappears, or I genuinely do not know. Let's see. This happens every single time. What up, everybody? When I'm opening the chat. What up, Jet Black? Good to see you. What up, Nico?
Hola.
Hola, señor. ¿Cómo estás? O is it cómo está?
Muy bien.
Jackie, what up, random YouTuber? Okay, so yeah, I don't understand what's happening on Discord. Like, what? Oh, this is the weirdest thing. Like, general chat basically disappears when I start the stage, and then only when somebody texts there it reappears. The weirdest thing. Sean, what are those things you shared? Scientists discover possible connection between human brains and cosmos on a quantum scale. Really. Also, Ghost shared his outline of the paper. I read it. Good stuff, man. I don't know if he's with us here today. Very good stuff. Logically consistent, based on pretty substantial work. Would be excited to talk about it. And then Sean also shared. What is this? Accept all cookies. Quantum transport in fractal network. Transport. The abstract says fractals are fascinating. This is great. Not only for their aesthetic appeal, but also for allowing the investigation of physical properties in non-integer dimensions. In these unconventional systems, many intrinsic features might come into play, including the fractal dimension and the fractal geometry. Despite abundant theoretical studies, experiments in fractal networks remain elusive. Here we experimentally investigate quantum transport in fractal networks by performing continuous time quantum walks in fractal photonic lattices. We unveil the transport properties through the photon evolution pattern, the mean square displacement, and the Piolia number. Oh, Piolia. I don't know how to pronounce it right. Contrarily to classical fractals, we observe anomalous transport governed solely by the fractal dimension. Let me read this again. Contrarily to classical fractals, we observe anomalous transport governs solely by fractal dimension. In addition to the critical point at which there is a transition from normal to anomalous transport depends on the fractal geometry. Our experiment allows the verification of physical laws in a quantitative manner and reveals the transport dynamics in great detail, thus opening a path to the understanding of more complex quantum phenomena governed by fractality. Interesting. Also, welcome everybody on TikTok. If you guys are just joining, thank you so much for coming on so late. Melvin, snack cake. It's interesting stuff. Okay. Thank you for sharing, Sean. How are you, brother?
My pleasure. I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm doing wonderful.
Excellent.
Ahoy from Switzerland. Back to Switzerland. Thomas Koons. Terry, how are you, brother? Hope you're doing well. These are interesting papers. What just that you just shared because they look interesting and relevant, or there's like specific things inside of them that we should pay attention to. What up, Alien and Isaac?
Um, I I was putting it out there for someone more versed than I to hopefully find some connections, but I figured that the connection that they were attempting to make between fractal patterns um, exhibited, on microscopic and microscopic levels seemed interesting and in line with what we're looking at. So I was hoping somebody might be able to find a connection in there.
Okay, yeah, that sounds pretty interesting. I'll definitely read. And I have to say that Ghost's at least outline of the paper is an interesting direction of thought. His whole, he said we can already talk about it because it's in print now. What upcoming build? Basically, the methodology or the principle that I kept on raving about. The principle is basically postulating that the matter and mind are an expression of the same thing. I'm not so sure that it's very different than idealism. It basically postulates a fundamental substrate. However, he does make a distinction and talk about something a little bit more specific, two properties that are a little bit more specific of the unified field, which this unified substrate, which are basically structure and internal. Well, I forget what it called it, but basically internalism. So like the fact that what I actually call inness. I coined this term called inness just to kind of denote this quality of being inside versus the outside. INNES, because I couldn't find a better word for it, and I felt like that was neutral enough. Um, but yeah, it would be interesting to actually break it down to see the details. Because here's the thing: in the end of the day, um, all axioms, as long as they agree with each other, they kind of hold. They pin the theory down, right? It's just that you have to have axioms that talk about properties that we can observe. In when you're working with something as elusive as consciousness, you do get to set up certain assumptions about the world as long as they then track everything. And if there's too many arbitrary choices you have to make after that, then your theory sucks. So this is why I want to see if like how he constructs the full case, which from what I understand is a pretty long paper, but it will be fun to go through. So far, I have to say I'm impressed. It's a very good coherent framework.
Where
And
was that paper shared?
he shared it only with me, just the outline.
Okay.
And he said that we can't talk about it. And then he texted me today, said that we can. So I don't know if I can share the outline yet, but he said it's in print, so we can talk about it. So I'll wait for him to say if it's okay to share that, and then I can always share it with you. Let me actually ask him. You coming to the... That's how I ask questions. I have to.
Didn't know you were from the valley.
It's such a good paper. It totally solved the hard problem of consciousness. That would be, wouldn't it be like if I would be the simulator, that's what I would do. I would have the final answer or the final question read by the most Valley Girl accent you possibly can. So it is the truth, but you have to sit through it being expressed that way. So
There's a tinge of evil there. Beautiful.
everybody's ears are like, ah. I was like, oh, but it's what up, Aaron? How are you, brother? We're honored to have a visit by Aaron Venden, everybody, the director of the film.
What's up, Aaron?
Aaron is the best. Um, so, anyways, this totally solves the hard problem of consciousness. And you don't even know. It's like amazing. So, anyways, so if you take all the vectors that lead to 42 This is like, man, I want. I bet you AI can do this. This is gonna be great. Uh, um,
Uh,
what up, Saturn Rooster? Greetings from Australia. Uh, Doctor Lu.
also,
Oh,
I found
Doctor.
a pretty interesting paper today.
Yeah, please.
Another one.
Yeah.
Let me link it here in the chat. So the article title is Prebiotic Organic Compounds in Samples of Asteroid Bennu Indicate Heterogeneous Aqueous Alteration. In short, what they found is in samples from this asteroid Bennu uh, was an essential amino acid, tryptophan.
Okay.
So I'm sure you've already heard of, panspermia, the
Mm-hmm.
theory that life originated from elsewhere in the universe.
Yeah.
Often, suggested that it might be from asteroids carrying these life-building blocks or basic ingredients for life.
Mm-hmm.
And as they collide with planets, they drop off these amino acids, and life either does or doesn't take off based on the environment in which they land. But as far as I know, this is the first time that we have a legitimate sample of an essential amino acid in an asteroid sample. So that's
When was this?
pretty.
Osiris
This was
Rex
released
emission.
November 24th, so about a week and some days ago.
So this is a sample that was collected on one asteroid. The wow.
Yeah.
I have to be honest. Like Permspermia always bored me because it's
Okay.
basically no, no, no. This is not the end. This is just the beginning of the story. Um,
Okay.
the reason that it bored me is because it's basically tells you nothing. Because it's like, okay, so it started on another planet. Who cares? But then you have to explain how it started there. Like you didn't explain how it started. You just said it started somewhere else. Who cares? It's like so then it's basically just as arbitrary as saying started here. However, there was one uh little hint or possibility that I heard that made it actually interesting because it made it universal, which is that what if life just like basis for um, certain materials on Earth do not originate on Earth, but in the at the moment of the death of stars, right? Like gold, things like this, and they cannot be created on Earth, which is a very interesting little thing. What if life always originates in um, interstellar clouds? What if life actually originates in the middle of space, not on a planet at all? Because it has enough of organic um, diversity and pressures and all kinds of very exotic interactions and electricity moving through it all the time. And then when some of this material kind of get contaminates, like little rocks flying through, that's when you get what you just described. And then they kind of seed either planets or. I was like, okay, that's actually kind of interesting because that makes it like there's a universal explanation as to what is the most common way by which this starts. Because if we're saying it started on one planet and then some meteor kind of collided with it and some of the debris flew into space and then it seeded another planet. Well, if we're talking about the beginning origins of life, then you didn't really solve the origin of life. You said well, it kind of started somewhere else, but then you have to go there, figure out what the chemical compound was there and why that happened there. But there's something about the it starting from clouds that makes it kind of neat because there's a lot more clouds than there are planets. Would you agree with that?
Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd say that that's interesting, and you're right that it doesn't, in and of itself, the panspermia theory that is doesn't in and of itself answer the question where did life originate. It just says not here,
Yeah.
which is fine, and I think in its own right is important for people to open because not everyone's open to that possibility, right? We're aware of that.
Of what? Of what possibility specific?
Of life having there are people whose minds are closed to life existing anywhere else in the universe or being from anywhere else but Earth. that Earth is the single and sole proprietary to all rights of there being life.
Wait, you think
So
that there's people
it's,
that genuinely believe that life only exists on Earth?
of course,
I think
yeah.
that's the most
I
radical thing
mean,
you can possibly believe in.
it's very
I'm,
radical. I agree with you.
I mean, it's
But
that level of feeling that we're special is like I can't even fathom it. It's like,
I know it comes with a lot of blinders being worn, and maybe even a little bit of hubris.
or
Down
maybe
to
just lack of awareness of how big space really is. I think there may be more of that.
yeah, there's definitely a factor of that. John Ross says it's unfortunately common, very common among the religious types, because they may be scared of contradictions. True. Um, and I think, I went to a religious school, and
Mm.
I think one of the important things, I was lucky enough to have somebody while I was there who, even though he was a brother, not a father, he was a brother,
Mm.
um, still a devout, Jesuit Catholic priest. But when I would ask him questions, because I grew up in the church and at a pretty young age realized like, okay, hold on here. There's some things that aren't checking out. There's, not even going to get started. I was about to give a couple examples, but we don't even need to get started on that. But so I would ask him these questions.
How did a Mexican guy was born in Israel? It doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, that's good. I love how he's always white in pictures.
Yeah.
But yeah. Um, so yeah, I was lucky enough to have one of the priests who would tell me like, listen, man, I get that you're curious, but it's just a book. And I was like, what? A priest telling me straight up it's just a book? Okay, cool. So that was like green light, go ahead, ask this guy any question you had. And that was cool to have somebody of the cloth who was level-headed enough to open his mind to the possibility that this book wasn't the be-all, end-all. But in my experiences growing up through the stages of growing up in the church and going to religious school, that frame of mind is unfortunately all too common. That it's like if it's not in the book or if it contradicts something in the book, then it's false and it's bad and it's the work of the devil.
Mm.
And that's a very dangerous prospect. So why I like this evidence of panspermia being a possible theory beyond just the fact that it only identifies where life did not originate, is that this is evidence to perhaps open a couple more minds up to the possibility. And I think that anything that leads people down a path of inquisitiveness will benefit the whole a lot more than staying in old beliefs and closed-minded, blind faith associated frames of mind.
Oh, for sure. No, anything that moves the dial. I just always thinking like if it's just that sometimes permspermia is always introduced as a some kind of a step forward in the where like well not where it's like why how life began, right? And then it doesn't really answer that question at all, but it is obviously, if it's true, then it's a really interesting possibility. It's just that then it just says, okay, well then yeah, it's just arbitrary. Okay, so we're just from a different rock, so what? Like it doesn't really, like I don't know, it
Yeah,
just doesn't play music in my soul. Like it's not like okay, yeah, it's
it's not
like
really a full step in any direction.
in it
It's
at all. Like it's just like, oh, it's just the rock over there. Well, that doesn't answer
yeah,
anything. It's like
yeah.
yeah. um and just a couple of things. First of all, great to see you, Dr. Luke. Dr. Luke has been, he's a doctor from Italy and has been a long time listener. I appreciate you, brother, for being here with us. Terry is saying Tosh wasn't touched by the molecule. I'm actually tripping on this. Would ayahuasca, I guess, work on her? Is it dangerous to keep trying? You mean like it didn't do anything? If it didn't do anything, she either didn't do enough, or she might be one of this 1% that simply does not experience it because the way it binds in their brain is very different. It's not about, if it's not doing anything, there's nothing dangerous about it. Just nothing's gonna happen. But it's hard to know. Yeah, I need to know the details. We are experiencing something like simulation. It also has the same component that acts like extremely difficult labyrinth suffering escape game with multiple levels of puzzles being done in one. No, I think most of those, and I don't mean this disparagingly or in an offensive manner, but I think everything you just said at the end there, I think it's all in your head. Um, the puzzles, the I think it's the truth is that it just kind of runs. I mean, it's I don't so okay. There's some portion of it that seems to be almost like you have to clear a stage. So if you mean the same by that, then I would agree with you. But it sounds like what you're saying is that there's a lot of like these like little intricate puzzles that we have to solve along the way. Or maybe you can clarify, but it just seems like oh, you actually have more text. So also, if you guys want to follow on Twitch, it'll be LaserX83. If you want to help our Twitch grow, again, it's LaserX83. And Caring, thank you so much for the likes on TikTok. I appreciate it. Probably the life system is much more complex and interstellar. Science is now opening to plasma life forms in upper atmosphere, for example. 3i Atlas, for example, could it be an interstellar life form we cannot comprehend? Just throwing ideas. Better keep an open mind. Always an open mind, just not so open that our minds fall out, our brains fall out through the ears. But yeah, the highest good spiritual father is here in a body. He did not start or approve the simulation. Half of the population are family and half are simulated people. All right. Sounds like you have inside info. In the quantum equation, light's entangled into photons, battle darkness, absence sustained by timeless frequencies, encoding creation. Isn't that God? I'm not sure what you mean by quantum equation. Do you mean the Schrodinger equation? So, also, I just want to remind everybody, I want to encourage questions that are framed in and aimed from the perspective of the human experience. So, if whatever the question is, try and frame it in terms of why do you care about that? So, like, I have partaken in this and this and this kind of ceremony. That was my experience. Something that became really interesting to me is right. So things like this. I want to encourage more the perspective of what is it like to be us having this experience in this particular simulation. Discord is glitching. Is Discord glitching, Sean?
Seems fine over here.
Okay. And thank you, John, as well. It's unfortunately common, very common among religious types because they may be scared of contradictions. I also attend a religious school for a period when I was younger. Well, good to know. Thank you for sharing. And yeah, I definitely agree that people will have very strong beliefs. No, I know, Nico. I just wasn't sure if it's across the board. And Sean is just too polite to tell me. Um, what does it mean, the 1%? There's a very small percent of the population that does not experience the molecule at all. They can't. Oh, yeah. And today is a really beautiful full moon. I don't know if you guys saw it, but it was amazing. Human first guru. I had an online interaction with Brad of Arc. What do you think of his findings? I don't really get them. That's my take. Anyone tried shining a 650 into on a Kazarov mirror? No, but that would be an interesting one for sure. I'm on the Discord, but I do have a question pertaining to the molecule and brain healing. Oh, okay, sure. Yeah, if you want, you can always come on and chat here on Discord. It's just people not going to hear you as well. On Discord, people and TVI. Yeah, you can come over here. Yeah, we know somebody in Australia that built that mirror, so yeah, it would be interesting to kind of when Ghost comes on, maybe in the next few lives, it would be interesting to break down his theory. And if I had an experience with a molecule, I experienced rapid healing. That's amazing. Jimmy Church is coming for Chile on Saturday. Oh, Paul is in the house, everybody. We are welcomed by, we are blessed by the presence of Paul Heineck. That's amazing. Yeah, I spoke to him today. or texted back and forth. Good to see you, Paul. The one and only Paul Heineck, everybody. Who happens to be the CFO of the Monroe Institute and our CFO and the son of the great J. Allen Hynek. The game is just being done to one person. Some of the layers of the game have been canceled and made gone like demon negative spirit. How do you know all of this? Real question. So when you're saying all of this, how did you get this information? I'm going to see a few more questions here that we can. One of the things it's one of the most cathartic. Oh my God, Cosmo, you okay? Nah, but really limping. Come on. Good boy. He ran. He ran. Good boy. Like crazy the other day, and then he just started limping out of nowhere. That sucks. You see him? He's right there. I'm wondering if there's a research that goes into that. So I don't know of any. That first of all, that's really useful. So if you want to send me the details of exactly what kind of healing you start going through, this can be very helpful, and you should be. I can connect you with Andres Gomez from Qualia Research Institute. They're studying this kind of stuff, and it can be very beneficial for people if you share it. But you can email me to dangoprox@gmail.com. dangoprox@gmail.com, and I'll connect you. Um, there's quite a few interesting data points. Like right now, we were talking about it on my Dango Thoughts channel or 0 to 1 with Danny Goller on Spotify. You can watch my conversation with Andres Gomez. And at the end, he's talking about how they now have anecdotal evidence that the spirit molecule can help with cluster headaches and migraines. And I've tested this with 2 people that I know have it, and it works, which is kind of crazy. So I would not be surprised if it actually helps heal a lot of other things. Definitely don't think we should discredit this. Discredit what? Find it's completely fascinating that she didn't feel a thing. I think she sees it under the molecule on a regular basis. I don't know, but doing me completely. So I'm telling you again, some people's brain binds differently to the molecule and they cannot experience it at all. I know somebody like that. And apparently young Jamie, Joe Rogan's producer, also can't. Awesome, brother. This has probably already been touched on, but how do we increase the width of the laser field for greater vantage point? It does not work like that. No, you can. It doesn't really do much. You can. It's just like you find a lens that you kind of make it bigger, or you put the laser further back. That's all. It's not that complicated, but it doesn't really add anything to the observation. To be honest. Oh yeah, Guru says he saw a video about people not affected. So yeah, 1 off, 1 and 1. If you want to tell me, how do you know all this information? Am I a musician? No, I wish I would be. Musicians are so cool. I'm always surrounded. Some of my best friends are the most amazing musicians, and I'm definitely not one. But I love music. Love music, and my taste in music is actually pretty good. Um, like my playlists are very impressive to musicians, but I'm definitely not one. Grab a guitar, you can do it. Ah. It's like that episode of Family Guy where Peter and Lois were like playing, but they were like high out of their minds. It was just, and they were like singing nothing. Okay, so let's see if we have a couple more questions we can grab, because today is definitely going to be a short one because I have a flight to catch tomorrow. I I know this from my own experience and communicating with disembodied family who can see the simulation instructions and know what's going on. I use a protocol to be sure they are telling me the truth. Well, there are no protocols to know that they're ultimately telling you the truth, but I do take the argument that if you have identified a channel you trust, then you follow that. That's a good answer. Can't argue with that. I guess it will. The only real judge of validity of information is time. There's nothing else. Ebony is in the house. How are you, Ebony? Let's just put it that way. You, if you identify a channel that you really trust, you should trust it because you got to go by something. But you should always reserve a tiny portion of your brain for the right to not be shocked if you discover that all of it was false. You should always allow for that possibility. Feel All right. Yeah, so today, like I said, I came on very late and I will adjourn relatively quickly. Just reminding everybody that if you are interested to, we have a few more spots. If you are interested to check out anything about the retreat, let me know. Just email me to dengoprox@gmail.com and gmail.com. If it's specifically about the retreat, everything else is lasersimulationx@gmail.com. And then we can talk about it. Also, if you still want to donate to the post production of the film, we're kind of like at the final stages of it. You can find the trailer for the film in the description of this live right now, or just go to YouTube to Dango Thoughts to my channel and search for The Discovery. The trailer that you're going to see in the description, that's where you can find the GoFundMe page, and any donation is received with gratitude. If you donate over $1,000, you will automatically be put on a list of people that would see the movie as a world premiere all together with Q&A from us. It's going to be pretty amazing. What was the question, McFriss? You said, why am I not answering? What did you ask? You have still some time to re-put the question. So, because I don't see any message from you from before this. Thank you, Ebony. If you guys want to follow me across platforms, it's Danny Goller on TikTok and Instagram. It's Goller Danny on X. Just swap them. And LaserX83 on Twitch. LaserX83. And Dango Thoughts on YouTube. DANGO Thoughts. You can also follow my new show, Zero to on Spotify. 0 to 1 with Danny Goller, from Earthbound Minds to Cosmic Citizens. Or just 0 to 1 with Danny Goller, the show that focuses on the future of humanity. Also, come join the membership program on YouTube, which gives you early access to all my content, access to my weekly lives for members only that are usually happening on Sunday, in which we dive much deeper into all kinds of topics. Come join the membership program for that. And if you join the second tier upwards, make sure you email me to the email listed there, to lasersimulationx@gmail.com, and I'll send you an invite for a monthly Zoom call. One is coming up very soon. So make sure you email me so I can send you the invite. And that's it on the membership front. Grab your merch from YouTube. It helps the channel, and you get a really cool design. You get the COR, the core code of reality designs, and my favorite, the human first designs, which denote the attitude we should treat each other as human first before any religious, political affiliation, or any conviction you might have about the world. So I think that's a much more important attitude than anything else for a thriving future humanity. And let's see if I'm forgetting something. I think that's it. We mentioned everything. So I want to acknowledge our incredible moderator, Guru, and our incredible moderator, Ebony, who are always here on YouTube and Discord, always supporting. Guru, bro, you're always on it. It's amazing. I appreciate you, brother. And Ebony is considered by many to be the mother of core. We love you, Ebony. I would also like to thank you, the audience, for always being here, always contributing, always asking questions, always debating. I mean, without you, this is, again, just me kind of talking to myself, which is not as fun. So thank you so much. And if you're an old listener, a new listener, whoever you are, I really, really appreciate you for being here and making this me not just talking to myself. I appreciate you all. Sean, love you, brother. Thank you so much for joining. Nico, if you can still hear us, thank you so much. And all the other guests that are always coming on Discord, I appreciate you guys. John, Saturn, Jet Black, really cool name. Saturn said, it's a great to come to soon then. I had a major breakthrough recently. I found the code in the ratios used to build a stringed instrument. It unlocked every synodic period of the planets, the imperial and metric system missing link, and the ratios that connect all natural phenomena. Sounds like a big claim, brother. So if you want to send me that in detail and show me what you can predict with it and do with it, that can be kind of cool. Um, but usually master keys are, you know, not what they seem to be. But again, I'm open. So if you want to email me that to lasersimulationx@gmail.com, we can look at it. That's it. I appreciate you guys. Have a good night for now. See you tomorrow. Peace and love. Ciao. Have a good night, everyone.